So, hi, folks. Welcome to another edition of 5 Minute Football. I'm here with the football expert, the man who knows everything there is to know about football, Brendan McGirr. How are you, Brendan?
I'm really good this week, Liam. I'm really good. I've had a good weekend with the football. Really enjoyed it. My old mate Johnny Jackson's up there. He's only 3 points off the top with Wimbledon. I know they're six, but they had a good win against Tranmere. So keeping an eye on them. That could have been, he should have still been at Charlton, really. But there you go. But I just wish him all the best, and he is doing really well.
So it's all good. So tell us about the Premiership. What's going on? I thought it was good that Man City lost.
Well, I did say to you last week they'll drop points, didn't I, this season? They will drop points at some point. So, seeing them win, Arsenal, them lose and Arsenal win, it's looking a little bit exciting, the Premiership at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's much better because I thought City were going to walk the whole thing. And, of course, I think the big row on the weekend was all Liverpool, should have had a goal and didn't.
To be fair, that's so poor in today's, with the technology and everything we've got today. I mean, why don't they just put these things on the big screen at the stadium and let the referee watch with the fans? Everyone can see it in real time. You know what I mean? If the linesman's made a mistake or someone's made a mistake, whack it on the size of the screens they've got up there at the minute. Fuck me, if you can't see it there, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, there has been talk about having the match replayed. Is that something that they would do?
I can't see it. Can you? There'll be another game when they get a win that, they'll get a dodgy penalty and something will go for them. So it is true, over the course of the season, these things even themselves out,
Yeah, Spurs are doing amazing, aren't they? They really are really having a go, aren't they?
They're a different side this season, aren't they? The fair play to the manager that's come in, and, it's that Harry Kane effect not being there. They've had to change it up a little bit, and I think they're benefiting from it.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you thinking about Man United? My team, of course, Man United. I don't know, losing to Palace.
Well, he's got to be on a bit of a tightrope there, your man, isn't he? The manager there. Do you know what I mean? Because that's, that Man United are not expected to lose at home to Crystal Palace, in fairness.
No, to be honest, there's almost a slight part of me that almost wants them to lose because I'm not a fan of the manager. So, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe a couple of games we could lose. It's is it Galatasaray this week? And I'm thinking if they lose that, but maybe that's being really unloyal. Am I not being loyal, Brendan?
Well, it depends on how you feel about the style of playing, the way the club is, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? If you're passionate and that's not really the Man United way, what they're doing at the minute, is it?
Yeah, well, I'm just not a fan of his. I never was a fan when he arrived. I thought that he was overrated. Yes, he'd done great at Ajax, but this is the Premiership, and so I'm not a fan. And I think he's got the same kind of players in there that always seem to not perform at some point for the managers. United have had great managers over the last few years.
They've had some terrific managers, Man United, but I'm afraid it's a culture now. These young men have got so much power and so much money that if they just take a dislike to how the manager's playing them or some of his tactics or anything, if it just don't suit them, they're, a little bit of cancer in the dressing room and the manager's fucked, really.
Absolutely. They're all saying, Jadon Sancho is going to be out in January, but I actually think it's more likely that Ten Hag's going to be out before Sancho is.
I think he'll be gone well before January if they lose another couple of games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I said, Man United's a massive club, isn't it? It's one of the biggest clubs in Europe. It's up there with Real Madrid and Barcelona, so that's a massive club to be managed, man. And if you can't handle big players, that's not the right place to be.
No. Other football news of the sad loss of Francis Lee. What did you think of Francis Lee as a player?
Francis Lee, I loved him. When I was growing up as a kid in the 70s, he had some great moments on the telly. Yeah, he could have been a boxer,
Yeah, that fight he had with Norman Hunter were classic, wasn't it?
You look at them players now, and it was proper men's game. You see them rolling about now if they just get touched or break a toenail. And they probably start smashing each other in the 70s games and then just got up and carried on.
Yeah, he was, God bless him, Francis Lee, a great loss. But, he did have a reputation of being a bit of a diver, Brendan.
Well, listen, he would dive, but then he'd get up and punch you in the face as well. So, you know what I mean? He had it all, really.
That was a great Man City side, wasn't it? So Colin Bell, Summerby, Francis Lee, and they even had Rodney Marsh in at one point, didn't they?
That's right. They had Dennis Stewart, Dave Watson, who was a big goalie at the time. Joe Corrigan, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. So a great team. I was watching on YouTube the other day when they were playing United, and what an atmosphere! You know, their best Charlton and Law and all that. Fantastic, matches. So
it's the famous one, isn't it? When Dennis Law sends them down with a back heel, isn't it? Old Trafford.
Yeah, that was a classic one. Who's been your favourite diver over the years? Because there's a few like Klinsmann, aren't there, and Neymar and stuff.
Well, I mean, now there's too many to actually fucking think who it could be. Like most Premiership forwards will definitely have a dive, whoever they are. Do you know what I mean? They do now. It's like they're even taught how to fall over now, aren't they?
Yeah. Do you remember that one in the World Cup years ago? It was Rivaldo, and I think it was a Turkish player. Kicked the ball at him. He was over there by the corner flag.
By the corner flag, yeah, and he looked like he'd been hit by a hammer, didn't he? Yeah.
And the ball had been kicked into his shin. And
that's it. Yeah, he held his face.
Yeah.
He held his face. Yeah. But if you watch some of these replays now at the Premiership, and you see a player gets touched in the cheek or the face, do you know what I mean? Like literally touched, and they're falling over and holding their faces. There's never a mark on their face. There's never nothing. Like it's just straight away. If I can get him yellow carded or get a free kick, you know what I mean? I find that disappointing in the game. That's all.
Yeah, well, we used to love it. We had players like Duncan Ferguson around the place and all of that. These were proper hard men, weren't they? They wouldn't be clutching their face and collapsing, would they?
Nick McCarthy's and people like that who just loved it. They even loved an elbow in the face, and then they, just to test them.
And it's funny, Joey Barton, who was a bit of a player in his day, he's just had a go at one of his players, I think called Luke Thomas. Apparently the player had been complaining of a hamstring injury, and then sort of somebody got past him and scored the goal. And Joey Barton said, he said, unless we man up and eradicate these weak, feeble-minded individuals that are currently inside our team, we won't get promoted. So, are the players nowadays, are they feeble, weak-minded? Has he got a point?
Well, I just think that the players haven't got the same type of the way they're motivated now as men. It's the same as anything. We're getting watered down version of men, aren't we? Like in the 70s, like you had the Brian Cloughs and the Tommy Dochertys, and you had some real hard men managing teams that didn't take no shit. And if you didn't like it, you got fucked off. So now there's a whole different system. The players can actually moan that they've been sworn at, and that's it.
Yeah, so he'll probably get stick for that, Joey Barton. He'll probably be in trouble for saying that.
Yeah, I mean, but could you imagine Bill Shankly managing in with today's players and being told that they don't like not to wear their headphones while they're walking into the game, and can they have this and that? And they need their PSP fucking players while they're sitting in the dressing room or whatever. You just see Shanks having some of that, couldn't you?
Absolutely. Next weekend we got the big match, and we got Arsenal playing City. Well, what do you reckon for that?
Yeah, I mean, I fancy. I'm going to stick my head out and say Arsenal are going to nick it. I really hope they do. I hope just for the Premiership, because it'll keep it interesting. But City to lose a couple of games in a row, because they've lost the league game and they've lost the Carabao Cup match, didn't they, to Newcastle? So to see them lose 3 on the spin, that would be quite a feat for Man City. Do you know what I mean? But they've got a little bit about them this season.
Yeah, I think Arsenal could do it. I really do. I think that they could take them there this week, so that's good. What that shocking thing with the Sheffield Wednesday fan who mocked that poor young lad who, is it Bradley? Yeah.
Well, someone like him, like, there shouldn't be no excuse. He should be fucking banned from football for life. Yeah, he should never be allowed and it's Sheffield Wednesday should never let that man into their football ground again. That is a complete and utter gutless, spineless, horrible fucking man. Do you know what I mean? To do that about a child who suffered, that's not in the spirit of any person. I don't care if you're a so-called football thug. That's a football thug wouldn't have nothing to do with that. They'd punch him in the ear hole.
Yeah.
That.
I mean, he's saying that it was, enjoyable banter, but we like a bit of banter and stuff like that. But it's banter and banter, isn't there? I mean, that's
no, what's enjoyable. What's enjoyable about a child?
All the Sheffield Wednesday fans will be condemning that as well. I mean, they really would. I mean, that was disgraceful, wasn't it?
Yeah, terrible. There's no room for that. We love banter and we love a bit of piss taking, but there's no room for that. Like I said, that's just out and out filth, disgusting.
So we were talking last week about Football Focus, weren't we? That it was hemorrhaging all the viewers and stuff like that. And I mean, apparently it's gone down by a third, and it's not looking good. Who would you have on your panel if you had a new panel?
Well, I still think that Sky and BT or one of these people, even ITV, they're missing a trick here, because if I'd open up just a men's football channel, right? And you look at the talent you've got. You've got the likes of Harry Redknapp, Peter Crouch, Razor Ruddock, Jermaine Defoe, John Barnes, Paul Ince. Do you know what I mean? There's a wealth of good old-fashioned football banter talent fellas out there that would actually look. Whenever you go down the pub, do you ever go, I'll ring up that bird and get her to come down here and talk about football? I'm just saying, you don't do that when you go to the pub, or if you go down with your mates. You never go, I'll ring up so-and-so. She knows, get her to come down. Tell that Jill Scott to come down here and we'll talk about football. No disrespect to them girls, but none of us want to sit there with birds and talk about football. I'm sorry.
No, are we old dinosaurs? Are we dinosaurs now, Brendan? Should we be embracing?
We may well be dinosaurs, but we're on a dinosaur part of, we've still got another few years left. So why not have, as soon as you're having this so-called markets for everyone, let's have a channel where you can be a bit old-fashioned with the fellas and let it speak for itself. I bet if the ratings went up on that and it overtook the others, it would sort of prove a point. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, I don't think we're really ready yet to have such an influx of female punditry and commentary in football. Do you know what I mean? I still think there's a lot of blokes, anyone over 40, right, watching football, which is, there is a lot of people over 40 watching it, don't really get this new style of punditry. Do you know what I mean? I can't relate to Jill Scott. I've never watched her play football. I didn't even know who she was, to be honest.
I have no idea at all. But I don't mind some of it. It's the commentary, and the fact is that it's always so PC. Everything's so PC these days, and I think how can you have a laugh these days? Because anything you say can be picked up, and then you're cancelled. I just find it all ridiculous. Even look at that guy, the Spanish guy who kissed the player at the World Cup.
Apparently, is he looking at 4 years or something, possibly in prison?
Yeah. I mean,
that's absolutely stupid, isn't it? That is just beyond. I can't even comprehend that. All they had to do with that fella was pull him to one side with the girl after the game, apologise to her. It's something that he's got no history of doing anything wrong. He's done that in the excitement of the moment. I'm really sorry if it offended her. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think it's going to change her or scar her life, that moment. Do you know what I mean? So she should be big enough to go, look, you took her. I weren't happy with how what you done there. Be reprimanded for it, learn from it. But to actually blow it up into this, I mean, what are they achieving? What is it they're trying to achieve? That's all.
The football player has filed a criminal complaint against him for sexual assault. I mean, this actually can't be good for women either. Like you say, he should have been, given a slap on the wrist, suspended for 4 weeks, whatever, and told to, just calm down a bit and this, that, and the other. But this cannot be a good thing going forward, There's
got to be a lot of women out there going gutted because they wouldn't have minded being kissed. You know what I mean? There's a lot of them that probably wouldn't mind it. But, I just think the whole, all of it with the women's thing and the all the different PC things now. I think we've just got carried away, and we're actually destroying our own sort of lives. Do you know what I mean? Like, you got to have a bit of banter. You got to have a little bit of leeway with things. To do what you're doing in today's world, you're just making people boring robots.
Absolutely, which is what we are not, and that's why we're here, Brendan. So that was 5-minute football, even though it wasn't 5-minute football, but we really enjoyed it. Thank you very much to the expert on football, Brendan McGirr. And anything you want to say before you go, Brendan?
No, listen, I just hope Arsenal do win now after I've stuck my head out, but I fancy him to win. I do.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we'll find out. We'll be back next week where we do our sum up of the weekly football. Hope you enjoyed it, folks. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Cheers.
Beautifully done, Brendan. You're an expert. You are the football expert.
Oh. That was helping me, Liam. That was helping me.
I thought you were on form.